If you've ever felt drained by the endless cycle of researching keywords, crafting content, and trying to please Google's algorithms, then this video might help you. Today, I'm looking at how AI is transforming the entire content production process in SEO, automating the busiest tasks and letting you focus on the big picture growth stuff. So let's look at how you can harness AI to skyrocket your rankings and stay ahead of the competition. AI is really changing everything from content creation to automation of website builds. It's really the Wild West all over again. So it's like we've gone back to the 90s when I first got online, and pretty well everything that you wanted to do, you could do as the search engines were starting to evolve. We could create any sort of page, any sort of content, and it would rank. It was really simple. But that also meant that we could abuse that and we could create thousands of useless pages that would rank and bring traffic. Well, we're starting to see that again with the use of AI because AI can mass produce content. So I'm going to have a look at a couple of those things in this video and discuss maybe how you can use them to grow your business online. And I'm also going to make some really important points at the end on what not to do because it could cost you your business. AI is more than just using ChatGPT for writing articles. And it doesn't matter whether you say I use Gemini or Claude or one of the other models. It makes no difference. It's so much more than using those tools. It's manual if you're doing it that way. You're asking it for an article, you're giving it information, those sorts of little basic steps to give you some content. These days we can go so much more further than that. And so don't just think about using AI as I can get it to write an article for me. We've moved way beyond that. In fact, the last week, some of the stuff I've seen was absolutely blowing my mind. And I've been online for almost 30 years. So I've seen pretty well every trick in the book when it comes to marketing and SEO, because that's how long I've been doing it. One of the things I was watching yesterday, which I've been playing with myself, is creating dynamic websites with Lovable.ai. And Lovable is a tool where you can actually ask it to create a website and it will code all of that from scratch for you. What was happening in this video that I found so interesting is they were creating dynamic sites that only created pages to match keywords when Google indexed that page. So it would come to the site, it would look for this article, the site would go away to ChatGPT, write an article, put it on the page and display it for Google. Google would then index it and the site would cache that article so that you weren't using up lots of space on your hosting. But the really weird thing was that these pages didn't exist in the site until Google actually went there and tried to index that link on the homepage going to that particular keyword set, which might be, say, plumber Gold Coast or something like that. It would then go away and write that article, bring it back. It would appear on the page that Google wanted to read and it would get indexed in Google. So pretty wild stuff when you think about it. So you've got a site that actually has no content and only creates its own content as the search engines ask for it. And then that content can rank. So that sort of thing is going on and is available to you if you want to learn how to do it. You only have to do a search on YouTube to find videos about that sort of stuff. And there's a range of AI tools that do that. Another thing that I'm seeing that I personally have used is Autoblogging. And there's a whole pile of sites that have been produced that you can pay for access that will auto-blog for you. You choose the topic, the keywords, give example pages of content, the tone, everything you want to do, and then link it to your WordPress site or whatever site you're using, generally WordPress because it's nice and easy to post to that. And these auto-blogging tools will write 4,000 or bigger articles or smaller, depending on what you want, to actually put on your site. And it will post them for you, even with an AI-created image as part of the post. So really simple to do. And to be honest with you, I did a few articles like that, and then I went back and read them because they weren't being indexed by Google. I just had them on a side site to see what they did. And the content quality is very high. It's not the low quality that you would expect if you just went to ChatGPT and just asked it to write an article. Obviously, you can tell that sort of content. On the other hand, just remember, Google has clearly stated they don't care whether you use AI content as long as it is quality content and it answers the questions that people are searching for. So it's okay to use AI content. That's fine at this time. But quality content is always a key thing I try to teach people when I'm doing SEO. So have a look at some of the auto-blogging tools and you'll find they're extremely powerful and they can produce as many articles as you want. You just pay for the number of articles or the amount of searches that you want, depending on the tool, and it will go away and produce 1,000 articles for you if you want to. It can do that. So have a look at doing that, and I'll give you a warning about that a little later on, so stay listening. There's also a range of tools that you can use for research and analytics. Obviously, understanding your analytics, learning from those analytics, then producing new content based on what's working is really important from an SEO perspective. One of the things that I used to do, I had a site full of certificates for teachers to download, was I would actually look through the search results and see what searches there were that came up on my website, because there was a little plugin in the back of WordPress that told me what people were searching for. And it would tell me the searches that came up that there was no certificate for. And then I would create that certificate. So next time someone came looking for that certificate, it would show up. And from an SEO perspective, it gave me another page in Google. And that worked very well. There's research tools now that will do that for you. They'll look at your analytics. They'll tell you all of those sorts of things. And then you can feed that data automatically through, say, a Google Sheet into an auto-blogging tool. And hey presto, that content's created for you. So have a look at some of the tools you can use for analytics and think about how you can use them to leverage the information it's collecting to create content for the search engines for people based on what they're searching that will rank for you. Remember, we're always looking into our niches. That's really important. So always review what it's doing. Don't just let it loose. Have a look at what it's producing and then let it loose. Once you're satisfied that the information coming back from the AI tools is in line with your business goals. There is so many APIs available now, and APIs, for those of you who aren't familiar with them, are interfaces into other sites. And tools like Make allow you to link APIs together to do tasks. So you might have an API link into OpenAI to write an article, and then that article will be posted to your social media automatically through the API on social media. And you link those together in Make. So you make these workflows that link things together. And when one thing happens here, all these steps happen and you get posts and videos and all sorts of things coming out, depending on how you use it. APIs give you the power to link things together and have one thing react with another thing to give you a result that you can send somewhere else. Alternatively, they just allow you to access information, all sorts of things. There's a range of tools that will give you lists of APIs. I can remember watching someone who was talking about using APIs to create tools. And this was going back probably about 7 or 8 years ago, before AI was even a thing. And he was using APIs to gather information and then collate it and then produce lists of top 100s and things like that. And it was absolutely incredible how powerful it was. He was able to predict the top 100 music songs before radio stations could do it. So there was so many uses of these APIs, and I was blown away by the power of them. But now with Make, you can use them to create so much great content and integrate it all together. So you have a post that might have text and a video and an image, and it might have bullet points and all sorts of things, because you integrate all these elements together and then spit it out the end and put it on your website. So APIs are extremely powerful, but they allow you to make really great SEO content for your websites. Now, I said earlier on I was going to give you a warning. Here's the warning. If you're going to play SEO games, you will be punished at some time by Google. Now, I've had it happen to me. I once had a tool that created directories, and it would auto-create directories, and in the top 5 links on that directory, my site would be one of the top 5. And it was so good. Within a week of launching this site, it was ranking really highly. I was getting 8,000 to 10,000 visitors a day, and I was getting a huge flow-on effect from that traffic from the directory to my own website. It was working wonders. It was really great. But eventually Google worked out what I was doing, and that site got killed. Now, the good thing was I did not do it on my main site. I did it on a standalone domain. So if you're going to play Google games or SEO games, depending on what you want to call them, beware that your site could be deranked. So do not do them directly on your main domains. Get separate domains and set up the sites on there. So if you're going to use Lovable to produce dynamic website that does its own SEO writing, all those sorts of things, great. But use a separate domain and then have a lead capture form or something that sends the leads to you directly. Do not put it in the back of your main website, because I can absolutely promise you at some stage in the future, Google's algorithm will realize the games that are being played, and it will punish every site like that. And anyone who's been in SEO a long time knows about all the updates like Panda and Penguin and all those sorts of things. There's been some big ones over the years, and they do kill a lot of websites. And you will never rank again for that site. Once you're killed, you're dead. I've had it happen 2 or 3 times over the years, sometimes through no fault of my own, funnily enough, but it's done. So make sure that if you want to test this sort of stuff out, if you want to produce SEO content, that you take the time to buy a secondary domain, put it on different hosting. Do not put it on the same hosting as all your other websites. Go and get some cheap hosting somewhere and go and play those games somewhere else. But understand, Google knows everything about your domains. They know who owns them. All that information is available freely online. So it can still lead back to you. Be very careful how to use AI content. It's a great way to create content if you do it wisely, if you don't overdo it. Producing 1,000 articles in a day probably looks like a blip on the radar to me. I'm going to notice that if I'm watching what's going on across the whole landscape of the web, aren't I? Whereas if you're producing one new article every 2 days, that's just going to blend in with everything else. So think carefully. That's a wrap on the wild frontier of AI-driven SEO content creation. We're witnessing a massive shift from automated website builds to APIs to bulk content generation, all opening doors for opportunities and a few pitfalls. So just remember, push your boundaries, but proceed with cautions on your main website. If you want more insights on turbocharging your SEO and staying ahead in the new era, hit that like button, subscribe, and join the conversation below. As always, if you need help with your SEO on your site, please book a chat with me at mrwebmarketing.com/chat.